One of the most common questions I get is what shutter speed do I use to freeze action? Well, there's actually three kinds of action you want to concern yourself with. That is action coming at you, action going left to right or right to left, or action that's going up and down. Hi, I'm Brian Peterson, author of Understanding Shutter Speed and Understanding Exposure. And today I'm here in Chicago with my daughter Sophie, who's going to be running on the pogo stick for us. And that's action going up and down. Now, one of the myths about photography when it comes to freezing action is this, that you need high ISOs and you also need some incredibly fast speeds. But the fact is, freezing action today is not a whole lot different than it was 30 years ago. That is to say, when action is coming at you, a 1/250th of a second, believe it or not, is more than adequate. When action is going up and down, a 1/500th, if not a 1,000th, should be adequate, and likewise if action's moving left to right. With that in mind, let's take a look and see how we're going to freeze the action of Sophie on the pogo stick, and subsequently, I also shot her jump roping. Both of these exposures were shot at a 1/500th on the pogo stick and a 1/1000th with the jump rope. Let's take a look. All right, now the first thing is you'll notice that I'm laying down low here because I want to get more at Sophie's eye level, even though she is jumping up and down. But this way it'll assure me that in my composition that I've got her down low in terms of her feet relative to the height of the vertical frame. In addition, you'll notice a lot of green around her. You know, I'm a big fan of metering off of green, so over here I metered to the left of Sophie and set my exposure, and subsequently I'm going to be shooting all that green back there with my 70-200. I'm getting a meter reading of f5.6 at a 1,000th of a second, so I can actually get this at f8 at a 500th, and that's minus 2/3, not quite. 6/40th at f8 is minus 2/3. So let's go. Sophie, go ahead, and here we go. I'm also using my motor drive, which subsequently gives me the opportunity, and I'm also to shoot a lot of frames, plus I'm also shooting only when she's in the up. And notice the hair? That's the telltale sign that she's in action, not to mention the pogo stick off the ground. Okay, Soph, that's great, thanks. Let's take a look at what we got. All right, as you can see, we've got a couple of nice shots here. Both of them, the first two I'm sharing with you, are taken at a 1/640th of a second. That's at minus 2/3 off of the green. Here's those jump roping shots I was talking about. Those were taken at 6.3 at a 1,000th of a second, again at minus 2/3. And here's some other examples. Let's run through these. A 1/250th of a second, that's when action is moving towards you. Here's some examples of what I mean by that. Here's some examples at a 1/500th and also a 1/1000th. Now, truth be told, every single one of these shots was done at a 200 ISO. That's another myth. You don't need the 1,000 and 1,600 and 3,200 ISOs to make freezing action photographs. We didn't have that back in the late 60s, early 70s, and we certainly don't need them today. Unless, of course, your job is to stop an arrow piercing a balloon. That might be a different story. Or a bullet piercing an apple. But we're not talking about that kind of action here today. This is good all-purpose family fun. Until next time, this is Brian Peterson saying, you keep shooting.